Most men don't lose the girl because of how they look or what they have. They lose her in the conversation. In the moment where they were so focused on not saying the wrong thing that they never said anything real at all. And the painful part is, the connection was right there. They just didn't know how to reach it. Genuine curiosity is the starting point of everything. Before you even think about what to say or how to say it, ask yourself, do you actually care about the person you're talking to? Because if you don't, no question in the world will save that conversation. Women, like all people, have spent years learning how to read energy. They know when someone is genuinely interested versus when someone is running a play. You can have the perfect question memorized word for word, but if there's no real interest behind it, she'll feel that disconnect immediately. The moment you shift from, what can I say to impress her, to, I actually want to know who this person is, the whole conversation changes. Your tone softens, your body language opens up, you stop performing and start connecting. That shift isn't a technique, it's a decision, and it's one you make before you ever open your mouth. Emotional safety is something people don't talk about enough when it comes to building real connection. Before a woman opens up to you, she needs to feel that she's not going to be judged, pressured, or made to feel uncomfortable for being honest. And here's the thing. You communicate safety long before you say a single word. The way you carry yourself, the tone of your voice, whether you're relaxed or tense, whether you're patient or rushed, all of that lands before your questions do. If she feels like she's being interviewed or evaluated, she'll shut down. If she feels like she's just talking to someone who is genuinely calm and present, she'll naturally start to open up. You can't fast track this part. Trying to rush emotional safety is like trying to rush trust. It doesn't work, and it usually backfires. Create the environment first. The conversation will follow on its own. Most men walk into a conversation already bracing for rejection. And that bracing, that tension, is exactly what makes rejection more likely. It's a self-fulfilling cycle that nobody talks about, honestly. Here's the reframe that actually helps. Rejection is just information. It's telling you that this particular connection at this particular moment wasn't the right fit. That's it. It's not a grade. It's not a verdict on who you are as a person. Think about it practically. If you recommend a restaurant to a friend and they don't like it, you don't conclude that your taste is worthless. You just accept that it wasn't for them. Romantic connection works the same way. The men who handle rejection well aren't superhuman. They've just stopped tying their self-worth to someone else's response. When that weight lifts, your whole energy shifts. You stop being desperate for a yes and start being genuinely present in the conversation. And that presence is what actually draws people in. Most people think being good in conversation means saying smart, impressive things. But the truth is, the most memorable conversations aren't the ones where someone said something brilliant. They're the ones where you felt genuinely heard. Listening sounds simple, but real listening, the kind that actually builds connection, is rare. Most people are half present. They're nodding while mentally preparing their next line. She can feel that. Everyone can. When you ask a question and then actually wait, not planning, not rehearsing, just receiving what she's saying, something shifts. She notices. Because most people she talks to aren't doing that. The follow-up question is where listening becomes visible. When you respond to what she actually said, going deeper into her thought rather than changing the subject, it tells her that her words landed somewhere real. That feeling of being truly heard is something people don't experience often. And whoever gives them that feeling becomes someone they want to keep talking to. There's a common mistake a lot of men make in conversation. They try to pull depth out of someone while staying completely on the surface themselves. That doesn't work. You can't expect openness from someone you're not willing to offer it to first. Vulnerability isn't about oversharing or dumping your emotional history on someone you just met. It's about being willing to share something real, a genuine opinion, an honest reaction, a personal experience that actually cost you something to say out loud. When you do that, even in a small way, it creates permission. It tells her that this is a space where real things can be said without judgment. And here's what most people don't expect. Vulnerability is disarming. When someone is honest with you, your guard naturally comes down. It's a human response. You can't help it. So if she shares something personal and you respond with something equally real, the conversation stops being a performance. It becomes an actual exchange between two people who are choosing to be honest with each other. That's where real intimacy starts. A lot of men ruin genuine connections by trying to rush them. They want the closeness, the comfort, the deep conversation, but they want it in the first 30 minutes. And that pressure, whether they say it out loud or not, pushes people away. Real intimacy doesn't work on a deadline. It builds gradually, through repeated moments of honesty, patience, and consistency. You can't microwave trust. It has to develop at its own pace. Think about the people in your life you feel most comfortable around. That comfort didn't happen overnight. It came from showing up the same way, conversation after conversation, without an agenda attached to each one. The same principle applies here. Every conversation doesn't need to be a milestone. Sometimes just being consistently present, warm, and genuine does more for a connection than any perfectly timed question ever could. When you stop treating each interaction like it needs to produce a specific result, you actually become easier to be around. And someone who is easy to be around, who never makes you feel rushed or pressured, is someone people naturally want more time with. There's a version of confidence that walks into a room and immediately tries to dominate it. Loud, performative, constantly needing to be the most impressive person present. And then there's the version that simply doesn't need any of that. That second version is the one that actually attracts people. Real confidence in conversation looks quiet. It looks like being comfortable with silence instead of rushing to fill it. It looks like being okay when she disagrees with you instead of immediately backtracking to keep the peace. It looks like not needing to steer every exchange toward a destination you've already decided on. Arrogance needs an audience. Confidence doesn't. When you're genuinely secure in yourself, you stop performing. You stop trying to say the right thing and start just saying the honest thing. An honest, unfiltered conversation is so rare that when someone experiences it, they lean in. Humility is what separates the two. A confident man can say, "I don't know," or "I was wrong," without feeling like he's lost something. That kind of groundedness makes people feel safe around you. And feeling safe around someone is what makes a person want to stay in the conversation. Everything we've talked about today comes down to one simple truth. Connection is not a performance. It never was. The questions, the listening, the vulnerability, the patience, none of it works if it's coming from a place of strategy. But when it comes from a place of genuine interest in another person, everything shifts naturally. Most men spend years looking for the right words, when what they actually needed was the right mindset. Stop trying to win the conversation. Stop treating every interaction like an audition. Show up as yourself, curious, grounded, present, and let that be enough. Because here's what nobody tells you. The right connection doesn't need to be forced. It doesn't need tricks or tactics or perfectly rehearsed lines. It just needs two people who are willing to be real with each other. You already have everything it takes to build that kind of connection. The only thing left is to stop getting in your own way and actually show up for it.